Well, welcome to another Rebel Minds Coaching the Headlines. It's Mercy Miglino here, and of course, my podcast buddy, Teresa. So it's Good Friday today. No matter when you listen to this podcast, I think it'll resonate. Um, it's sort of the courage to surrender and the power to rise, which is the liminal space that I'm in right now. And I think a lot of people are in the world, given what's going on. So to take a minute to just pause, not to celebrate, it's not about, something harder. It is challenging though. It's about surrender. And what Good Friday represents in the Christian tradition, it marks the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. But beyond theology, the day holds a universal story, which is how I look at it as a metaphor. The moment when everything falls apart, the moment when control is gone, the moment when the path forward disappears. So it's not a religious story. It could be about burnout, loss, failure, identity collapse. The moment life no longer matches who we thought we were. So
You
Good
know,
Friday is the
as you're saying
union.
that, Mercy, I'm thinking
Yeah,
about the hero's journey,
yeah,
right? The
yeah,
hero's journey where
yes,
it has to fall apart before it can come together
yeah,
again. That's
yeah.
really beautiful. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No,
that
that's
just hit
fine.
me hard.
No,
Yeah.
it's good because it's it's really, it's always been for me not I always believe that a lot of the biblical things are true, but they get sort of, dumbed down because people can't think in that awareness concept, way. Um, but for me personally, we coach, I teach coaches, you deal with people who are trying to build a business, and it's all about identity, who people think they are. And when that changes, like if you present to someone and said,
Mhm.
okay, you're a coach, and you think I am not a salesperson, well, that identity has to shift somehow, right?
Mhm. Yes. Yes. And it's the hardest thing to shift your identity once you have really dug in deep.
Mm,
You talk about surrender being, like, surrender to me is the hardest thing because
yes.
it's letting go of control.
Yeah.
And if I let go of control, it's all going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Right? Everything, like the world is going to crack open, the sun is going to dip into the sea, and it's all done.
Yeah.
And so it's terrifying. Like that is probably the most terrifying thing for me is to let go.
Yes, yes. And I think we are constantly being asked to do that in the world stage today, what with wars and, the political landscape. But and it's all about, you can take the global and you can just, put it down to, um, you know, we are fond of saying in coaching that, you're going to reinvent yourself. Well, you are in a way, and sustainable change only happens when you surrender. And you have to believe somehow that you will be resurrected, that you will come out of it maybe even better than you were when you went into it. I'll give you an example. Um, my identity was, challenged when I had burnout, right? I was the director of this, and I had, control over certain things. And I was making X amount of dollars. All of this went out the window when I burned out and left. Then, of course, for a period of about a year, I said, who am I if I'm not this, this, and this? And I listen to people all the time when I'm coaching them come up with this, if I'm not something I was, what am I? And there's this, some people call it luminal space in between, like where you're in limbo. It hasn't revealed itself to you. And that's where faith comes in, I think.
Yeah. So, that happened to me when I got sick a couple of years ago, and I
Mm.
literally could not do anything. Like I pushed it so hard that I could
Yeah.
literally sit on the deck on a chair.
Mm.
And it was this huge depressive state because my identity was completely gone. I no longer could do what I used to do. And someone said to me, if you don't know who you are, figure out who you aren't. And once you eliminate all of that, all that's left is who you are.
That's very interesting because right now I'm in a small apartment, and I start getting these glimmers of awareness. I don't like it here, but when I think about it, I'm like, what's really important? It's close to my grandson. Yes, it's too small and it's not ideal, but I think this ideal that I have of who I am that owned a house
Yeah.
is gotta be let go. It's gotta
Yeah.
go somewhere, into the ether, and I need to surrender in order to see what's possible. If you're stuck in that space, you don't even see what's possible.
Well, and it's interesting, Mercy, as you say that, because I've known you for a lot of years and I've known you in a lot of different
Yep.
abodes.
Hmm.
And you are the same person to me, whether you are coming from your big house or coming from this small apartment.
Yeah.
So that is really in this virtual environment, really only yours.
Yes. Yeah, they're so like as I sit here and admire your wavy gray hair that's so attractive. I really love it. And yet I'm fighting gray like it's my job, and at some point I'm like, when are you going to stop fighting aging?
Yeah.
And I watch my daughter, 30 something years old, remember who she was before being a parent and feeling lost. Like, how do I get back to myself? And I think that's a typical transition too, when people move from a relationship to parenting to sending them off to college, and you have to like deal with that. There's so many times in our life where we are carrying that cross up the hill,
Yeah.
and
And do we really want to get back to ourselves? You know,
yeah,
we glorify it. You know,
yes,
there was a lot of things that went on in my 20s that I do not want to relive,
no,
right?
no.
And so you would have to be as stupid as you were then,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
All the wisdom
ignorant.
that I've carried it to now,
Yeah.
I would need to release that because it doesn't work like I'm going to be able to take it with me. You
No.
know, only on the big screen does that work. So, I think it's the story we tell, right?
Yes.
It's the story we tell ourselves. And we see this in coaching all the time. The first thing people come out with is, here's my story.
Mm.
Please help me justify why I'm here.
Yep.
Please agree with me, right? They're looking for confirmation that their story is true. And
Mm.
the reality is the story is never true.
Right.
It is not factual 99% of the time. And if we just, somebody said to me the other day, what if you just look at life as facts, right? It's factual that you're in a small apartment. Okay, check. It
Yeah.
doesn't have any meaning. It doesn't have any
Right.
impact. It's, your head is covered when it rains. So that's a fact. And so I started to look at things like that, in the morning when you wake up and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this, or yay, I want to do that. It's all just facts that I have created. I have created this life,
It's all
right?
perspective. It's
Yes,
all it's all what meaning you give to it,
absolutely.
right? And that
Yeah,
sometimes finding that meaning is difficult. It requires some courage because we're back to what you said initially, control.
yeah,
If I don't know where I'm going, that's a very ungrounded feeling, and you have to start to make like peace with that.
yeah.
I'm in limbo. I'm in a transition, or even a transformation. There's always discomfort.
Yeah. And what if that cross that we're carrying up the hill is our gift?
Yeah.
Why are we carrying it if it's not our gift?
Mm.
Why don't we leave it at the bottom of the hill?
Mhm.
I had several conversations with my sister recently, and we were reliving moments of the past. We grew up together, we're about 3 years apart, in the same room until I left for college. The same life, we had
Mhm.
completely different lives.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The things that happened, the stories that each of us tell about the reality of the situation is couldn't be further apart.
Hmm.
So it's obviously not the truth.
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And we eventually just had to let it go
Yeah.
because we don't know. We cannot go back. Both of our parents are gone. There's no one to verify whose story is right. We just had to let it go. And it
Yeah.
was so freeing
Yeah.
to be able to
Yeah.
do
I mean,
that.
what does it matter whose story is right unless we give meaning to it?
Exactly.
My experience has to be validated.
Right.
Like I said the other day to somebody, especially about your childhood, if someone in your life could have done better, they would. And this
Yeah.
is as good as it gets. Oh, they would have done better.
Yeah.
And somebody said, well, that's not true. I'm like, you're in a should. They should have done better. And the minute you're in a should, you're in some la la land that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to have that spirit of if they could have done better, they would have. And
Yeah.
that released a lot of
Yeah.
pain for me and thinking things should have been different, which is a lovely thought until you're dragging it up the hill your whole
Exactly.
life. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. No, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And so I'm thinking, um, I see this metaphor of a car, right? So we've
mhm,
created this space that we're in. And as long as that car is just sitting, we're in the same space. But if that car starts to suddenly roll down the hill and we try to stop it, you can't. It's going to
no.
run you over. So
Mhm,
trying to make changes in the current state of the car rolling down the hill is pointless.
yeah.
So we can only change the future.
Hmm.
So, what we think about, what we talk about, what we're doing here today is our declaration of a new future for us.
Yeah.
Others choose to stay the same. You and I are not
Yeah.
like that. We're both forward moving people. And so we bounce off of each other and it literally changes our future.
Yeah. And you're back to surrender. You know,
Yeah.
I think we often misunderstood surrender as defeat. You know,
Yeah.
I surrender, white flag. But,
Yeah.
what if it's something else? What if surrender is releasing control, as we just said, stopping the fight with reality, the shoulds, and
Yeah.
allowing what is to be? So in the story, there is no fixing, no strategizing, no next step. There's
Right.
only this is what is happening, and that takes courage. Not
What
the
if it's
courage to
just a
act.
reframe of what I can control,
Yeah,
right? What
yeah.
if I don't try to control what I can't control? And
Mm,
all I control is me, how I show up, how I
mhm.
respond, right? I can't control
Yeah,
other people. I can't control the weather. I
yeah.
can't control whether my internet is working right now or not. All
Mm,
I can control is how I respond. Case in
yeah.
point, we had scheduled this time to do the podcast. I didn't send you the invite, didn't think it was going to happen. 4 minutes before, you said, sure, let's do it. I have no face or hair on. I was not prepared for this. But I sat and I asked myself, who do I want to show up as today? Right? And you said, let's just do it. And so I did. This
Yeah,
is very I want to say uncomfortable, but it's not because this is me.
yeah, exactly. It's like somebody once called that a psychological death, that every transformation or reevaluation of our identity includes kind of a death,
Yeah.
the death of who we thought we were, how
Yeah.
we thought life should be, and the identity we built on safety, comfort. The in between, most people try to escape it, raise my hand, yes. And we avoid it because it's, can't be fixed. It takes time to reframe it. You have to have patience and you can't jump right into action. Transformation helps in the stillness of surrender. And
Yeah.
that's where resurrection begins. That's where the new start begins,
Yeah.
which is really, when we release something, that's truly becomes the resurrection, a new life, a new life. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's I'm a people pleaser, especially in my work, right? I
Mm.
want to considerably over deliver. And in doing that, I attract a lot of people who are needy and want me to give, give, give.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been working on. What are my boundaries? And
Hmm.
somebody the other day said to me something that affected my money, right? And I'm like, no, I don't care if you walk away and never speak to me again. That
Yeah.
is a boundary. And I thought, how can I put those kind of boundaries on my time? How
Yes.
can I put those kind of boundaries on my what I'm willing to give?
Yeah.
Because I know you start messing with my money, it's over. Goodbye.
Mhm.
Thanks for being my friend. But,
And it
so
all goes back to the identity that I'm a people pleaser
yeah,
and reframing that to I enjoy helping people. All right. Not like people pleaser implies that I have no control over how I give my time and my money, but to frame that identity, I'm somebody who cares. I'm somebody who likes to help people. It doesn't mean, like you said, that you can't say no.
yeah,
Again, identity shift. We
yeah.
label ourselves so easily. It's like,
Yeah. When
yeah,
my kids were young, I was mama bear. Like, you can mess with me all you want. You mess with my kids, though,
yeah,
I'm going to take you out. Right. And I
yeah,
was proud of that identity
of
because
course.
nobody messed with my kids.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think it's just looking at each piece of it. And, I'm doing a lot of how do I feel in the moment? If
Yeah,
it feels good, then maybe it can stay. But if I at all start to feel bad or taken advantage of or anything like that, I'm like, okay, that is not mine,
yeah,
that I need to give it away. But it takes diligence, it
yes,
takes focus, it takes attention to every moment. Otherwise, I end the day exhausted because
yeah,
I've just given, 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 given,
yeah,
and I haven't realized when I need to stop that.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny. There's a concept that act as if, that, okay, so I'm going to act as if I'm not a people pleaser. And
Yeah.
what would a non people pleaser do? Okay, I'm going to do that. And then you eventually you start to identify with I'm not a people pleaser because you've put in the action. Um, it's not always the way it's done, but it is one way that seems to work for some people.
Yeah, I like that. And I
Yeah.
like how that ties back around to that surrender. What
Yes.
identity have I been carrying that I don't need anymore? And
Yeah.
people pleaser is one of them.
Yeah.
Because
So,
even when I say it, it doesn't feel good. Now, if I were to say I'm a problem solver, that feels good. That
yeah.
taps into the strategy part of it. That taps into the things that are good for me. Yeah. And so maybe that's what I carry.
Yeah. So some of the questions that let's ask our audience to reflect on, but it's ones that I have been reflecting on. Where in my life am I still fighting reality, holding on to an identity that no longer fits, trying to fix something that may need to end? Ugh. And what would it mean to stop and allow? So before growth, there is surrender. Before clarity, there's uncertainty. Before resurrection, there is letting go.
Mhm.
Maybe this is not a failure. Maybe this is the beginning.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that thought. Maybe
I
this is
like
the
that. I
beginning.
like that. Because, you have to clean out your closet to get new clothes.
Yeah,
You have to clean out your energy to bring in what serves you now.
yeah, exactly.
I love that.
Okay. This seems like a good place for us to end. What do
Yep,
you think?
I think
Okay.
so.
All right.
I think we've
So,
solved one little problem in the world, so we're
yeah,
good.
we're good. All right, everyone.
All
We'll see
right.
you next time.
All right. Thanks.